Good afternoon. Great. My name is Ernest Wamboye. I am a follower of Christ. He found me at the age of 15. That's when I understood the gospel and he saved my soul. I am also a family man, been married for the past 13 years to my wife, Waturi. All right, so that's the topic. The topic is guarding hearts and screens. So we run a ministry called the Relationship Center, an organization that promotes and defends biblical family values. So we run an online premarital class. We run a pornography addiction recovery class, one for men, one for women. We also run a single seminar called Boy Meets Girl, and we are the people behind Logos, the ultimate Bible board game. So I hope you know the person seated next to you. Do you know their name? Apart from the one you came with, please get to know their name. It's good to know them, right? And it's good to scoot over next to someone because you're going to have some conversations and you'll need to talk to someone. All right, so we're going to talk about the phone and we're going to talk about some of the dangers that come with screen exposure. So let's start by looking at some of the statistics. So I'm going to read you some stats. The first one is, according to recent data in 2025, the average person spent 4 hours and 37 minutes on their phone every day. How much do you spend time on your phone? Are you above average? All right. 4 hours, 37 minutes for the average person on their phone. In 2014, there were 1 billion smartphone users. Now the number is nearly at 4.7 billion. And it is forecasted that by 2028, this number will be at 5.83 billion users. I think the smartphone is one of the most ubiquitous inventions made by mankind. And it's going to soon be in the hands of almost every single human being on the planet. Did you know that phone usage increases both physical and mental health issues, including eye strain, neck pain, back pain, and in certain cases, it also affects your cognitive functions, depression, loneliness, mood disorders, and sleep disturbances, especially when not regulated. And we'll look at that in a few. Did you know that around 70 to 80% of people check their phones within the first 15 minutes of waking up and within the last 15 minutes before going to bed? So find out from the person seated next to you, are you part of that 70 to 80%? Now, why are those timings important? Before you go to bed, after you go to bed. If you speak to neurologists, they'll tell you that the 15 minutes before you sleep and the 15 minutes after you wake up, that's the time where your subconscious mind and your conscious mind are closely interlocked. All right? And so you find what you invest in your subconscious mind, or what you invest in those last 15 minutes before you go to sleep, or the first 15 minutes when you wake up, that has got a profound impact in staying with you in your long-term memory. All right? And so you find whatever you do with your phone in those 15 minutes does have that same effect on you. Let's go to the next slide. So, the blue light of screens disrupts the production of the hormone melatonin. And melatonin is responsible for making you fall asleep. So the more time you spend on the screen, especially before you sleep, the harder it is for you to sleep. And it keeps you awake because it overstimulates your brain and it delays what we call rapid eye movement sleep, REM sleep. Now, especially YouTube shorts, WhatsApp stories, they tend to come in very intense formats, very short, very quickly, and in a span of 15 minutes, you can notice that you've gone through 100 or so of them. Cindy? And so what that does is that it overstimulates your brain. Your brain is forced to process a lot of information in a short time, and that affects your sleep patterns. Did you know that prolonged screen time results in shorter attention span? The brain struggles to switch between tasks because of sensory overload. Like I gave you the example of the WhatsApp stories and the YouTube shorts. Now, this effect on children is even more pronounced because what it will do is that it will delay the cognitive development of your child. We're talking about memory span, attention span, problem-solving skills, and the net effect is that it affects their academic performance. And did you know that excessive screen time can be linked to increased risks of anxiety, depression, mental health issues, and even ADHD? The attention span of your child is affected. And so we're going to look at how we need to regulate screen time for our children, especially as they get older, because the smartphone is not going away. So we just need to find a way to move around it in a way that is healthy for our families. Now, let's go to the next slide. The next slide is a screen that is showing data from the 2025 Digital Global Overview Report. And this particular screen is showing the average amount of time that is spent per day by people aged 16 years and above on mobile phones. So, when this study was done, the results were released in February of this year, and it was shown of the top countries in the world where people spent time on the phone. Number 1 was Ghana, number 2 was the Philippines, number 3 was Brazil, number 4 was South Africa, number 5 was Thailand, number 6 was Chile, and Kenya made it to the top 10. We are number 7. So Kenyans are among the top 10 nations in the world that spend time on phones. We are constantly before screens. Let's go to the next slide. In the next slide, this is the 2025 Digital Global Overview Report that illustrates the average total annual value stacked per user on online gambling compared with GDP per capita. So they're looking at the number of people who go online and spend time gambling. Now, number 1 in the world is Nigeria. And number 2 in the world is Kenya. So we come closely second as far as spending time online, gambling, SportPesa, Aviator, all those things. Kenya is really top in the world, second actually, as far as that is concerned. Let's go to the next slide. The next slide from the 2025 Digital Global Overview Report talks about misinformation. And this particular chart shows the percentage of adults who are aged 18 years and above who are concerned about what is real or fake on the internet. And would you believe it? The number 1 country on earth where people who can, it's very hard to scam them online. Kenyans are number 1. Number 1. Number 2, Nigeria. Number 3, South Africa. So African nations lead. Now, Kenyans seem to be the least gullible people online. And I think that's because we've been scammed for so many regimes. We know what it means to be used. So we've lost money, you've been cheated, you've been conned. So watu wako chonjo. And that means when Kenyans see something online, they can go like, no, that doesn't seem like it. All right? And I think also the fact that mobile money use is so ubiquitous in Kenya, information concerning scamming, losing money is very pronounced. And because of that, Kenyans seem to be very concerned concerning is that real, is that fake? Especially now with the age of artificial intelligence. Let's go to the next slide. The next slide shows online video content data. This is again from the 2025 Digital Global Overview Report. And this one shows the percentage of internet users who are aged 16 years and above who watch any kind of online video every week. Okay? So whether you're watching Crazy Kena or Mamito, or you're watching, Churchill, or you're watching your favorite podcaster, or you're watching, Joe Rogan, whatever podcast you follow, whether you're watching Candace Owens, whoever you're watching, when it comes to online content viewing, the top 10 countries, Kenya ranks number 4 globally. So Kenyans consume a lot of global or a lot of online data. So number 1 is Nigeria, number 2 Ghana, number 3 Morocco, number 4 Kenya. Again, the first 4 countries there are all from Africa. So it tells you something about Africa. When you look at most of this data, you see Africa seems to be at the helm. And by the way, do you know that the median age for different continents, if you go to Europe, the median age is 43. The median age for people in North America is 38. The median age of people in Asia is 30. The median age of those in Oceania is 32. Do you know the median age in Africa is 19? 19. Africa is a very young continent. So even when you look at this data, be assured that it's been consumed by a very young generation. All right, let's go to the next slide. The next slide shows the percentage of internet users who are aged 16 years and above who watch online music videos. Now, these are not just videos, these are music videos specifically. And in this particular report by the Digital Global Overview report, Kenya ranks number 3 globally. Number 1 is the Philippines, number 2 is Morocco, number 3 is Kenya. So Kenyans watch a lot of music videos online. Let's go to the next slide. The next slide from the Digital Global Overview report shows the amount of time spent daily on social media. Now, this is not just the phones. This is specifically on the Facebook, Twitter, X rather. It's rebranded, TikTok, all this, Instagram, all those sites. And number 1 in the world at 4 hours, 13 minutes is Kenya. There's no other nation that spends as much time on social media as much as Kenya. All right? So, why don't we turn and talk and ask the person sitting next to you, how do you feel about these statistics? All right? What are they telling you? Do they reflect your household? All right. So, let's go to the next screen. So, friends, the phone is not really the enemy. The enemy is the influence behind the phone. And the greatest secret that perhaps a child could keep, which would perhaps be the greatest influence, which is a sexual influence, would be through pornography. By all means, the greatest danger you need to worry about concerning the phone, even more than gambling, more than amount of time online, is the exposure to sexually explicit content, pornography. And porn can come in different forms, whether in picture format, video format, or in the form of literature. Now, porn in video format tends to appeal more to men. Porn in literature format tends to appeal more to women. If you look at the statistics on people who consume video pornography, digital pornography in picture format, most consumers are men, okay? When you look at literature, we're talking about those kinds of, the Miles and Boons kind of, those novels. Some of you are laughing, you've read them, right? And some of it is also online. Most consumers of that are women. So at times it's very easy to think that when you're talking about pornography, you should only be concerned about the boys. No, you should also be concerned about the girls. So let's look at a few statistics concerning pornography. Let's go to the next slide. So, did you know that porn sites receive more regular online traffic than internet giants, Netflix, Amazon, and X combined each month? If you took all the traffic that Amazon, Netflix, and X have, it is nothing compared to what porn generates every month. Did you know that 35% of all online downloads are pornographic? Did you know that 34% of people surfing the internet have been exposed to unwanted pornography? Pornography increases infidelity in marriages by up to 300%. So if you're an adult and you're consuming pornography, please know that you are hampering the health of your marriage and you're bringing down its chances of survival by 300%. At least a third of all data sent and received across the internet is pornographic. Just think about that, a third, 30%, 33%. That's huge. Think of all the content we have online. 33% of it is pornographic. That's huge. Let's go to the next slide. Did you know that the most common female role in pornography videos is women in the early 20s portraying themselves as teenagers? Why do they do this? Because they want to lure children as well. To make children feel like, and even teenagers specifically, to make them teenagers feel like this is normal sexual expression. Look at us, we are teenagers. But they are not teenagers. They are adults. Child pornography is one of the fastest growing online money-making schemes. More than 624,000 child porn traders have been discovered alone online in the US, just alone in the US. And imagine this is just one nation that has given us this data. Think about all the nations on earth. If we had all the nations on earth give us the data concerning child porn trading, you would maybe have millions of accounts, millions of people. So this is not just a kind of activity that is happening by a few sinister few. It's been done by a majority of people around the world. Child porn in itself is an industry worth 3 billion USD. Child porn traders are making money. I know of a particular woman who came to us for counseling, and one of the things we had to help her with is overcoming the trauma of being forcefully recorded and being forcefully made to produce child porn when she was less than a teenager. She was a preteen. She was forced to perform certain sex acts with animals, with adults, and it was filmed and sold here in Nairobi. Okay? Pornography itself is an industry worth 97 billion USD. In fact, there was someone who did the cost calculations of pornography and looked at the industries that compete with it. And he found that the only industry that gives porn a run for its money is the oil industry. The oil industry is the one that can the oil industry can relax and it can beat porn. Every other industry needs to really fight to beat porn because porn is very lucrative. The people behind it are making lots of money. Let's go to the next slide. Did you know that in 2016 alone, this is before COVID, more than 4.5 billion hours of porn were watched on the largest porn site? And it is expected that this number has since doubled. So you're talking about 9 billion hours per year. And that is just one site. Think about all the sites combined. Porn is a leading cause of loneliness, depression, and mental illness. This has been documented and shown to be true. And one of the things that is happening right now, there's been an upsurge of people bringing this into awareness because for a very long time, doctors, psychiatrists, therapists have been very silent about the effect of pornography addiction. In fact, many of them would even not call it an addiction. And they would say there's nothing linked to porn addiction as far as depression and mental health issues are concerned. But there have been so many people online who've come up and said, hey, when I quit my porn, my mental health issues went down. I'm currently reading a book by a man called Gary Wilson. He's written a book called Your Brain on Porn. And he's not a Christian, but in his book, he goes on documenting stories upon stories of how many therapists and psychiatrists have given people drugs, especially psychiatrists, given people drugs to treat mental health issues, which could have been cured through abstinence from pornography. It's been a silent conversation that's happening in the US. They don't talk about it, and that's because people feel like if you tell people not to watch porn, you're interfering with their freedoms. Matters of sexuality are very sensitive in the US. Did you know that pornography and masturbation reduce the frequency of sexual activity between spouses due to arousal desensitization? So think about it this way, okay? Porn exposes you to this amount of nudity. I'm going to use my hands to express it, okay? This amount of nudity. You're exposed to this amount of nudity on porn. And then you come back to your spouse, and how much nudity do they give you? This amount of nudity. Now your brain has been conditioned to be aroused by this amount of nudity. So even if your spouse strips naked, it does nothing to you. And as a result, you become desensitized. And one of the effects of porn consumption, especially among men, is porn-induced erectile dysfunction. Okay? It's been found to be very, very rampant among people who consume pornography and people who masturbate, because you find that even the very friction between a hand and the genitals is not the same as the friction between the vulva and the penis. And because of that, you even end up wearing out some of the nerve systems that are in your penile area. It's very dangerous and can cause erectile dysfunction. Both men and women, let's go to the next slide. The next slide, number 15, both men and women tend to put online sexual activity in the same category as having an affair. Results show that when people find out their spouses are watching porn, they feel betrayed just as much as if their spouse slept with someone. Did you know that 40% of addicts suffer divorce? Because of the 300% increase in infidelity, many times the outcome is divorce. Porn affects academic and financial success, and I'll show that to you in a few. That the more porn you consume, the more you hamper your chances of success, especially in the finance area. Men who consume sexually explicit content develop increasingly positive attitudes towards rape. In this study that was done, it was actually shown that men who consume pornography tend to say things like this when they hear a woman was raped. They go like, what was she wearing? You know, what was she doing at night at that time? No, she must have wanted it. How was she talking to him? Maybe she was the one who was seducing him. You never know. You've not heard the full story. Now, nobody wants to be raped. And women are very vulnerable creatures. And that sensitivity is gone because you tend to have more positive attitudes towards rape when you consume pornography. And why is that? In fact, you'll notice that 1 in 3 videos on pornography feature sexual aggression and violence. 1 in 3 videos. So what does that mean? That means when you consume pornography, it is most likely that you're going to encounter the kind of sexual activity that involves a woman being forced to do what she doesn't want to do. And it is done for entertainment. So imagine consuming internet content, consuming sexual content that shows a woman resisting a man, but the man is enjoying pinning her down and forcing himself on her. And that is called entertainment. Now, when you keep watching that, your brain conditions you to think that is absolutely normal. So when a woman tells you, hey, I was in my hostel, this guy came in, he raped me, I couldn't scream. You're like, why didn't you scream? You wanted it, you enjoyed it. Are you seeing that kind of thinking? Yeah. All right? Every second, 28,258 people are watching pornography on the internet. Right now, 28,000. Right now, another 28,000. Right now, it's estimated that every hour you've got about 30 million individuals consuming pornography. So by the time we are done with this talk today, you can be assured 30 million human beings have consumed pornography. Every day, 37 pornographic videos are created in the United States, and that's the US alone. Every day, 2.5 billion emails, think about that, billion with a B, are sent or received. Let's go to the next slide. Did you know that every day, 68 million such queries related to pornography are generated? And that is 25% of almost all total searches. Imagine every day you've got 68 million human beings who actively search for pornography. They're looking for it. 68 million. Every day you've got 116,000 queries related to child pornography. So the people who search for porn, about more than 100,000 of them specifically are looking for porn where children are involved. The average female porn star retires at the age of 27. The average male porn star retires at the age of 32. Now, how does this work? What you don't know is that the porn industry is closely tied to the child trafficking industry. And children are kidnapped, taken from their homes, and when they get to preteen level, especially the girls, they're introduced to substances like cocaine, heroin, methamphetamine. And what happens is that they are addicted. And when they are addicted, they are forced to shoot these porn videos. And if they want out, they are told, if you want out, we'll no longer give you the drugs. Now they're addicted to the drugs. So they want more of the drugs. So what do? They comply. They willingly shoot more porn videos. So there's this relationship where they're being manipulated by being given drugs for free so they can shoot porn. All right? So just think about it. How expensive is cocaine? How expensive is heroin? How expensive is methamphetamine, meth? Okay? How more expensive could porn be for someone to give it out for free? It means whatever you're gaining from porn is infinitely more financially than what you're gaining or what you're losing from the cocaine you're giving out. And so these ladies are stuck in this rut where if they want more cocaine because they're addicted, they must shoot porn. And they keep doing this until they're about 27. And at 27, what do the pimps do? They tell them, by the way, you're old. And they're kicked out. And they're told, get out, you're old. Why? We've got younger blood. Now, this woman has been on cocaine or on methamphetamine or heroin or any other hard drugs for a huge portion of her youth. And she's now kicked out on the streets. She's never learned any trade. The only thing she knows as far as making money is concerned is her body. And she's addicted. What are her career options? What do you think is the most likely option for her? What do you think she'll do? Prostitution, right? So you find pornography fuels prostitution. Okay? Women in porn are often treated with violence and are required to perform abusive sex acts. And most of those women online on porn, some of them who've left the porn industry say that they did those things even though they did not want to do them. They did it for the money. At least 1 in 3 porn videos shows sexual aggression and violence. I'd already given that statistic, 1 in 3. So if 1 in 3 shows rape as a normal kind of sexual expression, what does that do to the people who watch it? They normalize that kind of sexuality. They normalize that kind of sexual expression. And final number 27, did you know that a third of porn viewers are women? Now, this number was lower before COVID. Before COVID, you'd say you'd have the ratio of men to women consuming pornography was 4:1. For every 4 men that consumed porn, there was 1 woman. Okay? And what happened is that after COVID, porn consumption went up all around the world. People were at home, people were bored, all right? And more people started consuming porn. Now, before COVID, in 2019, there was a certain website that revealed data that was showing porn consumption according to different categories, and it showed more men than women consume pornography. And then it showed countries where there was an increasing number of women who consume pornography. While other countries were registering a 1:4 ratio, there were certain countries that were already registering a 1:3 ratio before COVID. And they were like, these countries, you've got many women who are watching pornography. The men are still more, but the women are increasingly more than other countries. So they did a top 10 tally of all those countries from number 1 to number 10, and Kenya was number 3 globally. So that's to show that Kenyan women consume a lot of pornography. Now, when they were going country by country, asking why is it that there's an increase in consumption of pornography in the foreign nations, in Kenya it was found that Kenyans consume a lot of pornography because, well, first of all, of the top 10 websites that Kenyans visit, 3 are porn websites. Okay? Next, Kenya has got high-speed internet. Do you know that? Our internet is really good. You just try and travel to any other African country. You'll appreciate Safaricom. You'll stop complaining as much. Our internet is really, really good. Our broadband is fast. And then Elon Musk came and made it faster. Sindio? So we've got really good internet. The second reason was that there's an easy accessibility to smartphones. So it's very easy to get a smartphone in Kenya. For as little as 5,000 shillings, you can get a smartphone. It's not going to be the best smartphone, but it's a smartphone all the same. You can access the internet, some pixelated version of Facebook, But Kenyans easily access online content because smartphones are ubiquitous. Okay? The third reason for that was that Kenya has got a relatively liberal government. Okay? Kenya has had relatively liberal governments compared to other nations in the world or other African nations. What do I mean? By the time that study was showing, I think it was during Uhuru Kenyatta's government, it was showing that you could say anything. You could insult the president and get away with it. Okay? Then, not now. Okay? You could say anything about the president. You could say, I don't like Uhuru Kenyatta. He's a big fat balloon, And the next day you show up at work, you could show up at his rally, say hi to him, and you could vote against him in the next election, all right? Now, you try that in other countries, you'll realize that there's a kind of freedom we have in Kenya that is not very, very felt in other nations. And so people normally wonder, hey, you guys, you just speak openly and nothing happens, all right? Just try Uganda, go Uganda. You'll be told you've got freedom of speech, but what you don't have is freedom after speech, Go down to Tanzania. You saw what happened recently with the elections, right? All right? So, all this data concerning porn. Turn to the person seated next to you. How does it make you feel? How do you feel about it? All right. So, let's go into the next slide. Signs that your child could be watching porn. Now, these are telltale signs that require pursuit. So these are not necessarily, it was said, therefore it's true. You want to pursue it to find out if it's really true. So number 1, is your child spending excessive time online, especially at night? So my hope is that if any of you have children who have got phones, that the phone stays with the parent at night, okay? But in case you've not enforced that and you find that your child is spending a lot of time online at night, that could be a sign that they are consuming something. Number 2, does your child frequently turn off the monitor when you walk in on them? Or if they have a laptop, they quickly shut the lid. Or they quickly change tabs on the computer screen. Does your child usually lock their door when they are online? And they want privacy. Does your child often prohibit you from accessing their devices? They tell you they are my rights, it's my property. All right? Do you find that the history, someone said, hey, you say, how is that happening? What right are you? Okay? Are the history sites on the browsers frequently erased? So you find that your child has been with a gadget for 3 hours or for 2 hours, but when you go to the history, you only see history of the past 5 minutes. There's something they're hiding. All right? Let's go to the next slide. Is your child spending unaccounted for money online? Especially those who are buying games. Video games. You find that there are times they ask you to buy things for them. And at times you get to a place where you teach them how to do it. And you find that now, just some 200s, 50 bobs, have been withdrawn from your account, and you don't think much about them, but there's no account for them. Does your child have several email addresses without their real names? Several email addresses like, that really awesome hot kid at yahoo.com. They are most likely doing that so they can have ghost accounts to access multiple porn sites where they lie. In fact, some countries decided to regulate porn and insisted that you must put your age category. But you could lie concerning your age. You just create an account and you lie. Number 8, is your teenager excessively withdrawn? One of the effects of consuming pornography is that a child feels shame, and that shame makes them withdraw, and they don't talk about it because they're feeling bad about it. And the more they do it, because porn is consumed in secrecy, you find that withdrawing from human contact becomes increases. So the act itself withdraws them from human contact, and then the effect of having watched it withdraws them from contact. So you find that they're very aloof and they don't connect with people. Does your teenage boy find it excessively hard to not look at women on the streets? All right? And is your teen's entertainment explicit? Do you know what they're watching? All right? Think about those 10 things. Any of them sound true concerning your household? Oh, not your household, another person's household. All right? Let's discuss. Any of them sound true? Seen that anywhere? If it's not, praise the Lord. All right? Any of those telltale signs seem true? If not, that's good. All right? But if they are, it's time for you to just tune your ears and say, hey, there could be something going on there, right? All right. Now, I want to show you, let's go to the next slide. I want to show you the effect of pornography on your body. And not just your body, your soul and your spirit.